I understand why voter ID is popular. I also understand why there are arguments that you'll wind up with fewer legitimate voters because of the nature of the process. The problem with that bill, Nancy, is it also gets rid of mail-in voting, which the president just used, by the way. So I don't know how heartfelt his belief that all mail-in voting is bad. He just did it.
I don't think he thinks all mail-in voting is bad, but certainly mass mail-in voting invites election fraud. Certainly there have been instances where dead people have voted or illegal aliens have voted.
Very few, Nancy.
We are one of the few countries in the world, by the way, Chris, that don't have voter ID in every state. A lot of countries do. Haiti even has voter ID, but you need your ID to rent, to get a job, to have a mortgage, to buy cigarettes, to get a tattoo. You need your ID for just about everything in this country except for
But this is a constitutional right, Nancy. This is a constitutional right, not a privilege.
For citizens.
You're not doing people a favor by letting them vote.
But it's a constitutional right for citizens.
I totally get it, Nancy. You're right. And I would be with you 100% if there were any proof of any kind of problem at scale. You know, you moved right from ICE to voting. You have two dead people in 2 weeks. We don't know what happened with Renee Good yet, and yet the officers are reportedly back on the job. Doesn't that bother you? There is no transparency.
We know that ICE and the administration is investigating those cases, and they do disclose information when there has been body cam footage. And I agree, there should be body cam footage for all incidences, including audio. I mean, that would be a good thing to have for everyone when there is something that happens to verify. But there is an investigation into those incidences, and I think we should give them the time to do that investigation and then announce to the public what happened.
I know, but Nancy, don't you think that the amount of time, and look, this happened under the Biden administration too, just not as often and not as egregiously. Right. Yeah. But I'm saying, like, you don't need months to figure out what happened to Renee Good, especially if the officers are going to be anywhere near the public, which again, reportedly they are. I see that as a cover-up, just like the situation in Iran with the schoolgirls. You don't need this long to figure out what everybody already knows. Now you have, once again, a vehicle, a traffic stop, and you have someone dead who may or not have been who they're looking for. It's a scary message in this country, not one of deterrence to the illegal people, but to the legal people.
But what's also a scary message, Chris, is that we have illegal aliens who are here who are running over our kids. We've had 2 or 3 children in the last week or so who've been run over and killed by individuals who were here illegally, had a license or didn't, and ran over an American child. There was no outrage in the media over that. Families lost a child. This goes on all the time. We've had several incidences like this in our own state of South Carolina. So there have been many Americans, women have been raped. Children have been killed, people have been murdered, and there's not the similar outrage because they're here doing harm to our own American citizens, and they gotta go, Chris. One way or another, they gotta go.
But Nancy, I don't understand. Certainly, I don't reflect the idea that I care more about law enforcement being bad guys than illegal entrants being bad guys. I have no problem with the bad hombres, as the president called them, being rounded up. That's what we thought was going to happen. The guy last week who was shot, not a bad hombre. Renee Good, not a bad hombre. This guy we don't know anything about. We're not even sure who they were looking for. So
Chris,
the only thing you and I both know, Nancy, is that people who are here illegally, that's their crime. But they commit crimes here at a much lower rate than you and me.
I don't necessarily agree with that. But Chris, what is an illegal entrant? Did you call an illegal alien an illegal entrant? Did I hear that correctly? What does that mean?
What's the difference?
Well, I mean,
you came in illegally.
Is that the new? Is that
or
the
you
new
overstayed once you're here? No, look, I've always thought illegal alien was a little bit of a weird thing. And by the way, the legislative history on it reflects that they thought it was a weird term when they created it. But I'm fine with whatever parlance you like. I don't like illegals because I don't like defining people by their behavior as if that's their whole identity.
They committed a crime coming into our country. I mean, they are here illegally.
Absolutely. And if you want to remove them, I get it. And you want to start with the bad hombres, I get it. But how you do it matters.
Yeah.
I understand, but you don't want them all shot, right? You don't want them all shot at traffic stops,
I don't want people shot. No, I want people deported. With that, there's a lot of disease and illnesses that are coming into the country with people who are here illegally. We've had terrorists cross the border. I mean, there are all sorts of issues with having an open border and people getting harmed, American citizens getting harmed. And I, quite frankly, we need to deport all of them and rework the worker visa program. So we know that when people come here and to work in our industry, we have H-1B visas here in South Carolina for our tourism industry, especially, but we can't have people who are here illegally.
It would be great for Congress to do that, Nancy.
All those things.
It would be great for Congress to debate and create rules that clarify asylum, economic conditions, who gets visas, who doesn't, what to do with all the people who have been here and doing the right thing, the dreamers. It'd be great for you guys to pass laws on all this. You pass laws on none of it.
We already have those laws on the books.
Not for the dreamers. They're in limbo. Dreamers are in limbo. We don't understand the economic asylum arguments. We don't know who gets to adjudicate them. We don't have a place to put them where they can have their right, have their decency respected.
Well,
we got a lot to do with that
because
program.
They're here, violent crime. They commit violent crime. I mean, there are all the reasons in the world, including the fact that it's illegal to be here, to deport every single one of them.
I have no problem with the law being forced. All I'm saying is, how do you enforce it? Not knowing what happened to a U.S. citizen for months. When the officers are back on the job, you're okay with that?
No, and as I said before, there's due process. There should be an investigation in every single incident, and it should be made public. That's been my stand for every sort of crime across the country. As you know, in my work, justice is very important for the American citizen.
Nancy Mace, I appreciate you making the case. I hope you get involved in the special election because I think your voice matters. And we'll see what happens. Thank you for joining me, and I'm sorry for the loss of your friend, Senator Lindsey Graham.
Thank you. I'm sorry for South Carolina. Thank you, and God bless you.